Democrats are pressuring Nancy Pelosi to open an impeachment inquiry. The Republican congressman who accused President Trump of impeachable conduct gets a primary challenger, and Kim K gets some heat for a Twitter complaint.
So Team Rising is here to drop some knowledge. Kristen Hawn is a Democratic strategist. She previously worked with the Blue Dog Coalition and served as liaison to the White House. Madeline Orr Osburn is a staff writer and producer of the Federalist Radio Hour. Welcome to you both.
Ladies, welcome.
So let's talk a little bit, Kristen, about Democrats and impeachment. Now, we've had a lot of discussion on this show about how Nancy Pelosi has been desperately trying to get the caucus not to go forward with impeachment. There seems to be some breaks that are within the caucus. Do you think ultimately that impeachment will happen, or does the speaker have enough control over the caucus to stop that in the interim election?
I think she's demonstrated she has the wherewithal and the know-how. I mean, having worked there, you go into meetings with her and you come out, and she's very thoughtful. She has a good handle on where her caucus is. She knows what her members are focused on, and it's the issues. And she's been good at kind of holding everybody together. Now, there are the members of the Judiciary Committee who are rightfully upset that they're being rebuffed by the White House. And they had their concerns, but I think that she's done the right thing, and she's that she's moving forward with her caucus under control.
Yeah, I mean, Madeline, what really struck me, and the Washington Post had this report yesterday, is that basically a number of Judiciary Committee members were making the case we should begin an impeachment inquiry. And so she then had a separate meeting with Jerry Nadler, who is the chair, of course, of the Judiciary Committee, and he also backed up his members and made the case that they should open an impeachment inquiry. To me, that is a very significant development. And meanwhile, of course, you've got court battles heating up, you've got the White House putting pressure on Don McGahn not to testify, all these pieces kind of coming together. Is it going to be hard for Nancy Pelosi to hold it together?
I think it is. She basically had a rebellion against her in her office yesterday. And thankfully, for her benefit, she has a bigger vision. I think she's focused on 2020. Her caucus, not so much. They are just anti-Trump, resist, resist, resist. And so she's trying to rein it in and say, let's look at 2020. The American people will not benefit from impeachment. So that's her take on it, but we'll see if
I just have to say, you just said, her caucus is not focused on 2020. That's just wrong. I mean, she's got the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and Jerry Nadler has this focus, right? And there were 4 members on that committee. But to say the caucus and the members of the caucus,
not just Jerry Nadler. I mean, all the leaks that are coming out
but I'm just saying, to say the caucus isn't focused on 2020, and there are members of that caucus who won these tough districts and make up the majority of the caucus, and I guarantee you they are focused on 2020, and they are backing her up.
The new members of Congress may not be the ones saying that, but all the reporting coming out of the Washington Post and other outlets right now is that majority of the caucus does want impeachment. Is that for many of the people in the most blue districts, impeachment is the most popular thing on their slate.
Well, I think that's the divide. Is Congress has become more divided, so there are very few swing seats. Now, some people did just win in very tough districts where they probably don't want anything to do with impeachment, but there's a in terms of their just naked political interest. The folks who are in deep blue districts, it is in their interest to push hard on impeachment, and the folks who are in the swing districts, it is not in their interest. So I think that's kind of the divide that you're seeing.
You look at other members of leadership, though. I mean, you don't see other members of the Democratic leadership calling for it either.
No, absolutely not. But
not open. Her caucus may also be focused on 2020, but I think the disagreement is on the strategy, right? Yes. So she's saying, if we impeach, we will lose a lot of voters. That's not what's best for the American people. And her caucus might be saying, if we don't impeach, then we will lose. So I think
they'll lose their basic
certain
voters.
Members
Right.
Of the caucus.
I think you're absolutely right. We should also talk about Justin Amash. So he's the first Republican to say that there were impeachable offenses within the Mueller report. I think that
he also said now that there should be an impeachment inquiry. He's gone that far.
And the congressman addressed this yesterday. Let's take a listen.
How do you feel having a primary opponent now announced against you running after your tweets about the impeachment?
Yeah, it's not serious.
So you feel like you're safe for 2 more years after this?
I feel very confident in my district.
So we should note that just right after he came out for impeachment, that he immediately had a primary challenger that came out against him. The primary challenger, State Representative Jim Lower, is calling himself pro-Trump, pro-life, pro-jobs, pro-Second Amendment, pro-family values, and Republican. So, Madeline, do you expect him to survive this do you expect him to survive this primary challenge after coming out so viscerally against President Trump?
I think he could, only because that's kind of his brand, right? Is to be that libertarian streak, always against the odds. So it's really not surprising that of all the Republicans to come out and pull this, it's Amash.
Right. I rolled my eyes when I saw it. I thought, oh, here we go again. It's Justin Amash being Justin Amash. But of course, everybody is out there saying, oh, GOP congressman calls for impeachment. I mean, do you think that this might actually benefit many of the people who are in the Democratic caucus who want impeachment? Like it is almost beneficial to many of those who are in the more left wing of the party who want to go after the president to have now this lone GOP members turning it into a national news cycle, Kristen.
Sure. I mean, you have a Republican actually calling for impeachment. I'll say it's nice having somebody who is acknowledging. I mean, it is remarkable to me how the members of the Republican conference, up and down, all the way up to Kevin McCarthy, will bend over backwards to defend this president in every single one of his actions. And I will say it was really interesting when I was reading through some of the articles on this, that Kevin McCarthy, the leader of the Republican conference in the House, goes on Fox News and actually, and nothing against Fox News, I was just there yesterday, but goes on TV and actually calls Amash a name, calls him a lightweight. And I just thought, I can't imagine a world in which the leader of the Democratic caucus goes on television and calls one of her members a name on television.
Madeline, the House Freedom Caucus that Amash used to be a very sort of central founding member of, voted to rebuke him, essentially. I mean, the House Freedom Caucus is not supposed to be about Trump propaganda and cheerleading. It's supposed to be about the libertarian values that Justin Amash has run on and been very consistent in voting for.
You're right. They were founded on this idea of representing a minority conservative
This was the
population.
Tea Party caucus, basically.
And Amash was voted in with the Tea Party wave. So I think that I don't think that the House Freedom Caucus will get rid of Amash, but they did vote to, I guess, rebuke his statement.
They'll censor him. Yeah.
I don't really know what that means or if it does anything. It kind of just seems like house drama.
I mean, does the Freedom
It's a strongly worded letter. But it's just, to me, it's significant that they're supposed to be about these conservative principles of limited government, etc.
I think at the end of the day, though, it's not really gonna bother the House Freedom Caucus that much. I think Amash is actually a bigger problem for Nancy Pelosi because she has been trying to say impeachment is not bipartisan, and then out comes this Republican congressman.
I guarantee you, she is not bothered by this.
She does seem like the Iron Lady.
She is.
That is true. Speaking of ladies, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how we turned to this one.
This was on Sagar's mind
this was on my mind, and I know this because Madeline is a friend, and she's a Kim Kardashian expert. And so Kim Kardashian tweeted yesterday.
Put that on your Chiron.
Yeah, I want that on
Kim
the
K
Chiron.
expert.
Now, Kim Kardashian. There was a very cryptic tweet that Madam K sent yesterday saying, "Hey, Jack in the Box, I have a serious complaint, but I won't fully put you on blast. Check your corporate email inbox or send me a DM with a direct person for my team to contact pronto." So she adds, "I would like to add that this is not about me or a wrong order. Nobody recognized me, and it's something that I observed that affected other customers at this particular location that was concerning." Couple of things to dissect there. Why is she at Jack in the Box, one of America's worst restaurants? Number two, what is going on here? Yeah.
It beats me. I do not know why she's at Jack in the Box. My only.
I thought you're the expert here.
Well, when I was backing my brain,
what do your sources tell you?
The only thing I could think of was she's in this very sense of justice type.
She's in a mood right now.
She's in her vibe is what is right and wrong. And I could see her as she's, coming back from her law school classes
Right.
that she's taking.
Apprenticeship, right.
Her apprenticeship. She's about to take the bar. I could see her walking into Jack in the Box, seeing something unjust going on, and perhaps needing to say something. I think it was actually very kind of her to not put them on blast because their stock would have gone down.
I
think
Yeah, I
talking
think
about it
it's
right
so
now.
putting them on blast. Can you
their
imagine the
stock
heart
did go
attack
down
of
a
those
little
corporate executives whenever they saw this?
I've worked in
sure
corporate America. That's
Yeah.
the first thing I thought. I was
Yeah.
as a former comms person in like corporate America. I was like, oh my gosh, there were so many
Nightmare.
people
I'm
like,
Sure, their console
you know,
was
yeah.
sweating.
Well,
Right.
some other
Some
fast
other
food
corporate
joints.
comms people were
Yeah,
jumping
some
in
other-
on the action.
yeah.
Very effectively, actually. Let's throw up this graphic. So Burger King responded, Jack in the Box to the principal's office. I also liked, Wendy's was actually my favorite there, the bottom right corner. But like, who even goes there? Which is an excellent question. Like, what is she even doing at Jack in the
That's
Box?
what I want to know.
I literally don't think I've ever been to Jack in the Box, and that whole E. coli outbreak in the 90s has scared me off for decades.
Their
they have
menu
tacos?
is too big if we're going to start critiquing it.
Really?
Too many options.
Really?
It's a
See,
little-
I don't even
And that
know what
makes
I'm
it a little
doing.
disgusting. How could
Say
that
that.
kitchen come up with so many different items?
Okay, Eat a Pinch, favorite fast food go-to restaurant.
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
It's a
Chick-fil-A.
strong choice.
Chick-fil-A.
Both strong
Crystal?
choices. I'm going to go Chick-fil-A, which is going to be controversial with my
was gonna
progressive
say.
friends, I have
yes.
to say. But at least they do treat their workers well.
They
So
do.
I will give them that. And their chicken is delicious.
And their chicken biscuits, delicious.
Chicken biscuits.
Yeah.
The chicken, egg, and cheese bagel in the morning, though, that is my jam.
I am a Taco Bell person till I die. So.
There you go.
What's your order?
There.
Bean burrito. I'm a classical.
Yeah.
Classicist. 99 cents. You can get like 90 of them.
Yeah.
So many people.
I am.
Populist
I'm
over
a
here.
true populist.
Ladies, thank you for helping us
Thank you.
cover all of the important things
That's
this
right.
morning.
Thanks.
Coming up, Chris Kobach's private jet demands are not taking off with some Trump officials, and we got the buzz about tens of thousands of bees in a bedroom.
That is
Yikes.
terrifying. And before we go, we're saying bye to a tribute to the Millennium album.